I gave each of you a handout, and there's a question at the top of the page, and the question has to do with, would you, either as a county commissioner lobbying the legislature or as a legislator working for the bill, support the expansion of Medicaid? Yes? No? Why?
Okay, would anyone like to start this?
I will start. I've actually answered this question for the Daily News, and so it will be there. So I am very concerned about the further expansion of Medicare and our Medicaid and what that would actually look like. I do want to see us get a reduction in what we have to pay for indigent costs for our medical care in Latah County, but I would prefer that we look at the alternatives that are out there. One of the things that I'm concerned about, folks, is that the federal government is really good about funding a program for a certain amount of time, and we get this big bureaucracy set up, and then they stop funding it, and it's going to have to come from somewhere. So I would like us to take care of this problem so that we could, and Louis, or Ms. Franklin, I'm sorry. You had in there too, what would you do with that extra money?
I'm gonna stop you if you don't mind, because I would like to give everybody an opportunity to respond to this question. Make it short, please. Give me your yes or no, and give us
Yes,
your
I do
reason.
favor the expansion of Medicaid. We are losing property tax dollars that are needing to pay for indigent care within Latah County that can be covered by other sources that we have in this country. So we need to be stepping up.
Okay, someone else. You don't have to go in line. That's okay.
Absolutely, yes. Right now, we're delivering the health care in as inefficient a way as you possibly can. I would do whatever it takes, even if we need to go to a referendum in the state to get it passed. I would say that the savings should go to property tax relief because your federal taxes essentially are already paid for this. And we're in the position now where due to the state funding cuts for schools, we're at the choice where you either tax yourself or watch your schools go downhill. I think there's enough of a burden on the local property tax.
Thank you. Someone else.
Thank you. I am certainly not an expert on this issue. I don't follow all the options and the exchanges. There's been several options mentioned. But speaking as a county commissioner, which is how I have to look at this, I think, is that what this, if something happens, whatever it might be, you take this burden off the county, what that means in our county dollars. If we eliminated the, I mean, if we took this out of the county and did some kind of exchange, it would probably add up to between $7,000 and $800,000 that the county wouldn't be spending on indigent, mostly indigent stuff. So that's my answer.
Thank you. Well, we're going to go down the line whether or not I care. Caroline, go ahead.
So, yes, I would support Medicaid expansion with some caveats. I think that there's a lot that we don't know yet. There's other states that are exploring options that I think might work better for Idaho. I've been a fundraiser for over 20 years, and I found out the hard way that if you offer an event for free, people either show up or they don't show up, and they leave you with a whole bunch of food left over at the end. But if you charge them even $5, they show up. And so I want people to show up for their own health care, and I think that's a very important caveat to whatever we do for expansion.
Thank you. Gary.
Yeah, definitely I would support Medicaid expansion. The Affordable Care Act, that was one of the integral parts of it, and I think it was a surprise because it was paid for 100% for the first 3 years by the federal government, then it goes to 90. We've already lost $150 million in Idaho by not adopting it, and I think it was just purely political not to adopt it, and I just think it was absolutely ridiculous not to do it. Also, it was already mentioned, I mean, we're delivering healthcare in the most inefficient way we can, and also we can maybe get preventative care. You just think about a person, a specialist, let's use a lady for example, getting a mammogram and not having cancer, finding cancer in a really early stage versus full-blown cancer. So just some of those examples.
Thank you.
Sorry, Sue.
I'll do my best to be brief.
Please.
Well, as Gary has pointed out, we've lost $150 million so far Well, in fact, if we kept down this road and continued to deprive our people of access to quality medical care, we would lose $1.2 billion within the next 7 years. This is money that we could use to reinvest back into our community, back into education, creating jobs, boosting our economy, all positives, I would think, correct? So that's why I absolutely support Medicaid redesign. And we had 2 years to have this decision sit there on the table, and we have ignored the people. We've allowed 70,000 of our neighbors, relatives, loved ones go without. And it's time to stop. We have to be mindful and respectful of those, and of course, tie in Medicaid redesign to allow them to have this access to quality health care. Thank you.
Well, our governor has already said that Medicaid expansion isn't going to happen, but I think that we have got to talk about Medicaid redesign, because if we do the Medicaid redesign, then we can have the Medicaid expansion. It's like Carolyn said, there are so many caveats that need to be changed within the current Medicaid system. And that is one of the biggest concerns. I can't go into all of those details. I have a white paper here with me today. I'd love to share some of the concerns the legislature has. A lot of it is continued funding. There's a misunderstanding that we're losing money, but that if you actually read Obamacare, the money that they're supposed to give us cannot go to another state. So actually it's just continuing to not increase the debt. So there's a lot of things that need to be looked at, co-payments, personal responsibility. I want to see those things put done first before we expand anything further.
John.
I can make my perspective short because Carolyn and Cindy have pretty much covered how I feel about it. I want people who need health care to have health care. And I think the people who want health care are willing to pay something for it. Most of us don't like to receive a lot for nothing without return, and so there are a number of states that have done different things. I think we need to look at those states, see what has worked, and do what is best for the people of Idaho.
You've just seen an example of the governance deficit I referred to.
Can you hear you?
Louder. Repeat what you just said.
You've just seen an example of the governance deficit I referred to in my introduction. Every objection from the majority party people here was covered in the work group's proposal to the governor in 2013. Every objection. They haven't read it.